relative end. I'll take that we don't have any questions nor suggestions nor hypotheses that must be addressed, so we don't have to round off any corners. So that being the case, thank you again so very much for being here. This is officially Steel Hearts, Rusted Souls mid-season premiere. Then we shall need each other. When we last left our coterie, we are going to address it a little more cinematically. When we've turned our eye away from our coterie last, Ben was frustratedly staring at the blinking icon of her cell phone. It's green and tintedly dark screen flashing in the darkness as she settled into her windowless alcove at her shop. As she closes the door, only the pale light washing her face, we pan away, flying as if we are on the wings of some night bird or owl towards Mason as he crawls inside his hidey hole, his alcove, wet, drenched in other things, blood and viscous liquids, drawing the lid closed, his own cell phone light illuminating his darkened space. And he sits, instead of his normal crashing out, arm across chest, and feigning sleep. He sits watching the screen, praying that his actions have not. And as that hint of a thought flashes across his face, we shift further south and east across town, finding Mason covered in dirt. Mason covered in dirt, having, but with his fingers buried bricks and pulling the dirt in over himself. And as we take his vantage point, his eye view, his POV, as the final ebbs of dirt he pulls down over his face, we flash forward across the city with the screaming sirens of alarm of police cars driving quickly to and fro. Its red and blue lights glinting off the buildings, acting as if it is the only light in the night sky. And we see Mamela streaking from darkened alcove to darkened alcove, staying in the open just long enough to attract attention in his direction, with the sun not far enough off to make this anything more than a foolhardy risk to himself and to others. And as he makes his way, instead of turning toward the lake as he had before, turning south and moving further into the city, finding places to get attention and draw the police towards him, the law enforcement vehicles, and all manner of agents of the law on a merry chase. And as he bends a corner, we find Joshua, Silk, Tao, and the all but dead corpse of Cone draw into a deep, dark basement, pulling slats of wood behind them and heading further in to escape the oncoming light of day. And as they settle into the mouth of the sewer, all sorts of debris blocking the sun and themselves, knowing that this very well may be their last night, we close to darkness, everyone dying for the day, the fate of Mamela unknown, the fate of the coterie itself up in the air. Too many things have happened and not enough forward momentum. While heroes of the moment in destroying and hunting the whites near extinction, they also have fallen prey to their own beasts, the foibles of others, and the pernicious ebbs and flows of the chaos around them. And so with that, would everyone be so kind as to roll a route? And we'll begin in reverse alphabetical order as to what, upon awakening, upon resurrecting, they are about. So Mason has been hungrier, unfortunately. Once upon a time, many decades ago, he had descended to the state of being all but hunger. Everything in him was on fire. Everything in him demanded satiation. Everything that he was the need to consume life in its entirety. That instance did not end so well for those that he ran across, but he survived it without drawing undue attention to himself or the community at large. That moment, luckily, was in the time before the prevalence of cell phones. That was before the prevalence of an interconnectivity that all but enslaves each and every person to their electronic devices. The hunger now is met with the pain of the previous evening, his eyes opening to dirt, to muck, to mire, and the fact that they do in fact open is a blessing unto itself. The pains and torments of the previous night's incident with the law, the pain of the previous night's incidents with the whites, the pain of knowing that his clothing, his attire, looks as if it has been dragged through a sewer, washed in mud, and soaked in blood. So broken and damaged, he rises, his beast urging him forward. He can almost hear Marion. Now, child, you know what it is we need. There's no reason in the world you should be presented as such, save unless, of course, it comes as something else's life. We don't need blood at this point. We need to drink down the city itself if we could. Move yourself so that we could get better. Come on now.
Okay, with that thought, Mason just punches through the dirt that the small layer of dirt that he put on top of himself.
The explosive shunting of dirt and moving allows him to sit up and realize that he is the only kindred resurrected. That could mean one of two things. Either Brix will not awaken, or Brix is further along that balance between man and beast. The gathered pile of dirt that had buried her for the day and hid her as the corpse that she was is very much undisturbed. There's a grumbling in his gut, not a physical. There are no stomach juices or acids at work, merely the annoyingly direct and unconditional need to subsume something, to take into himself blood.
Alright. So, would I have to roll for trying to resist from just ripping Brix up and sucking whatever little bit of blood she has left in her?
Excellent choice of resistances. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll 1/3 your humanity and your willpower?
Willpower, okay, so right now that would be 4 willpower and then half my humanity?
1/3. So if you have 6,
1/3.
yes.
Okay, I have 7.
Excellent. So that would be 3. No, 2.
Oh.
Sorry. That would be 2 plus your willpower.
So 5. Two successes.
As you crouch over the grave where you painstakingly and with your own fingers buried Brix, some semblance of not quite elitism, not quite humanity, a melding of the two prevents you from digging through the dirt to pull Brix into your embrace. There's a consideration of where this dirt has been. There's a consideration of where she has been. You know for a fact that she did traipse through the sewers. You know for a fact that she was riddled with bullets. You know for a fact that she didn't seem the sort to necessarily bathe with any regularity. Putting that in your mouth has a certain distaste, yet the beast is still urging you on.
Yeah, I need to get some blood in me fast. Mason then walks up to the slowly opens the basement door thing to see if he peeks out to see if there's any cops.
Oh no. There's a moment in every story, in every book, in every movie, in every media where one character will invariably look to their associates and say, "It's quiet. Too quiet." And while that is apropos, it's not exactly true. There is the sound of scuttling and scraping life nearby, the sounds of a street in media res as those who live not far or cars traipse through the area. You can hear the rolling rubber of the tires meet one pothole after another, swerve to avoid it. You hear a faint sound of footsteps, and you know that while this area is much like most of Gary, fairly desolate, that it still holds the very threadbare ideals of life.
Sorry, Brooks, but I'm gonna have to leave you here now. I did all I could for you. Mason walks up and realizes he has not texted the group at all last night. Basically, that he is basically okay. He just has a major headache and need for new clothes and a shower.
Several showers to remove the dirt from his fingernails, the dirt that had clogged his mouth and nostrils. He is as close to a shambling horror as he has ever thought to be in any of his fiction, and definitely any facet of his actual unlife. And as he makes his way across, he's just going to boldly stroll up into the street and make his way either towards home or towards finding something or someone to divest of their precious blood.
Whichever's closer. Mason thinks. Either food or...
Okay. Well, not accustomed to having his look be anything worth fearing. Would you be so kind? Just go ahead and roll your charisma plus persuasion, please. And while that roll is happening, Marcus, night comes all too quickly. You are resurrected back into the moment where you were, where we last left you, looking at your cell phone, dealing with the thoughts that assailed you. The fact that the beast so thoroughly unmanned you, and not unmanned as in cowardice. It literally reached across the void and removed your sense of logic. It removed your normal sense of existing in the world at large, giving to get, getting to give, and living in a let live manner that has been his lifetime. Never before has he been so thoroughly removed from himself and become a thing of sheer abject fear.
So I'm not feeling good about myself. I wake up and look around. My clothes are riddled with bullets. A lot like I am. I ate all the blood that I had to get my hunger under control, but I haven't healed anything yet. No. So I am still fucked up. I look around. There's blood bags everywhere. The phone's probably dead because it's been on for 10 hours straight. I'm just very angry at myself. And did not realize I had that trigger about being captured and enclosed again. And I make an inner wish that I had the ability to slap the crap out of Aces right now for putting that shit in my head. I grab the 3 blood bags, and I head up into the main factory floor, throw them into the burn pit. I'm gonna have to light that up soon. And I go up to the offices and change. And throw the phone on the rapid charger. I'm going to have to use the computer to contact anybody, but that will take a second to put together. I bury my way through all my clothes and find the one that relates closest to how I feel. Put on my ADHD t-shirt, put on some new jeans, find shoes that aren't soaked, get another pair of Converse that aren't soaked in blood, and then I head over to the computer and tap into the group's texting app and try to contact everybody. And that's when I see the message from Mason. I'm like, Mason, I sent him a text saying, Mason, just tell me where you are, head south into the neighborhood, away from the depot area, and I'll come and get you. I'll pick the lock on the Audi and get one of your suits.
Okay, firing off that text in Coterie chat, there is, in the midst, as is always Marcus's case, when he is alone and allowing the various gremlins, various kobolds, and darker aspects of his persona to have vent, to have release, to work and worry him. Normally it comes out physically in him, unable to be completely still. Even when sitting, he's working on 3 or 4 or 5 things at once. He's assessing, he's researching, he's plotting, he's planning, and much like then, in this moment, they don't give him peace. Save, instead of forcing him to work at some project or to envision it 3 or 4 different ways, they are working with playing and replaying, rewinding, re-examining what took place. That check stop very much did have a device, a camera of some sort that he had not previously seen. It very much looked like a studio system camera from back in the 40s and 50s. It very much did look like those large Panavisions where there was an operator who rode on those cameras, stabilizing them and aiming them. Yet that shouldn't be possible in this day and age. It's something that any police station would use. After all, who wants a black and white image of a drunk driving stop?
After I shoot off the text and the memory of that giant ugly camera comes back, I'm going to start delving into what I can remember of the unit itself and start looking at pictures of old studio cameras, old military cameras that they used during the wars for shooting their propaganda films. Just looking for still images of the equipment itself and comparing it to the memory I have of what was in the truck or in the minivan.
All right. That being the case, we're going to need several rules from you just to account for 2 things. First and foremost, to cover your steps through your normal back door. The search itself would trigger certain responses. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits and technology? Those And while you're doing that, luck, would you be so kind as to roll your intelligence plus streetwise? And while those rolls are taking place, and Marcus is set on fire to find this pertinent information that is sitting on the tip of his mental tongue, return toward Ben. Snapping awake, your phone mostly dead. Luckily, you don't keep many things in operation running in the background. You really don't use it much, so it has a battery that lasts far longer than it should, because it really does one or two things at most. It either calls or sends text. There's not much surfing, game playing, or any other programs, any other apps on Ben's phone. And so as that bar of juice shows that it's just about completely empty, its light still illuminating her face. What is it that Ben sets to doing? Hearing that her shop is in operation there, the workers are downstairs working on various things, various projects for various orders. There's someone still, you can hear someone back pulling parts. It's a relatively active evening.
Her first thoughts waking up are to check her messages. She's gonna plug the phone in first and then watch it start charging. She's gonna check her messages. Seeing the one from Mason, she's gonna sigh of relief a little bit. Seeing that there's none from Amela, there's a bit of worry. Seeing one from Marcus, she's okay, but still kind of concerned. And then, of course, changing clothes, showering, changing clothes. She doesn't want to let her workers know that she's up and moving. So her first thoughts is to go kind of circle the neighborhood as an owl and see what she can find out what's going on. Maybe try to go over near the depot in owl form and see if the Camaro is still there. If it's not being watched, she might try to get it back, hopefully, but we'll see what happens when she gets there. So she's going to switch to owl form and go out of one of her windows on the upper floor that she typically leaves open as a perch for herself.
Okay. Go ahead and rouse the blood for that. Shifting from bipedal to winged and taking to the night sky. As you do, you realize that for the first time in a fairly long time, you have not had to deal with the cajoling, incessant, plaintive cry of the beast. And the moment that thought filters across your mind, it hits you with the force that only a sneak attack can. Because the moment that the feathers sprout and you shift forms, it says, "Ha ha, I got you," and rises to a demand. Ben has been hungrier both during her living days and through her unliving days. But being caught off guard causes her to waver in the air. If she was walking, it would be a quick stagger. But in the air, it looks as if the owl has dipped in salute to something and takes back to graceful gliding on the currents. And unfortunately, with the clear eyesight that comes from having shifted forms, there are several crime scenes within the easy quarter-mile view Ben has as she circles the site and makes her way towards the depot. The depot is still under not complete lock and key, but it would be very easily noticeable if anyone approached the depot itself. It seems as if someone may have found those one or more egresses into the hidden areas beneath there are still 4 or 5 marked uniformed police cars parked in and around the depot. There's 1 or 2 clearly tactical headquarters parked on the grounds of the depot. The Camaro is gone, and in fact, there aren't any cars within a half a block of the depot. It is as if they towed, ticketed, or otherwise removed all cars from the street. It is as close to martial law as you have ever seen in Gary. It is all localized to that portion of Etna. It is all localized and focused on the depot. It seems as if someone has been triggered and they are going through it with a fine-tooth comb. If that was the only area that sparked Ben's attention, it would be one and done. However, not too far off, just northwest of the depot, right before the interchange onto the espresso, right there at 20, there are a series of police cars, except for they're not GPD, they're state troopers, there's state police. There are 2 unmarked vehicles that look as if they're from Central Casting as cop vehicles. And it is clear from the ambulance moving away without any flashing lights that whatever that was in fact death of some sort. The area is marked off with tape. There are men in uniforms moving back, men and women in back and forth from car to car. There are still people taking pictures, and there's still a very hot and heavy crime scene, which is unlike Gary as one could be.
Definitely disappointing. I leave it completely alone. I know better than to go try my luck, especially since the Camaro is gone. I'm just gonna go to Marcus because I figure everybody kind of tends to go drift there anyway. I'm not super hungry. I have a little bit of hunger, but I can manage it. It's not the worst it's ever been. It's not like it was the night before at all, so I can wait. I just need to make sure that my people are okay, that the people I care about are as whole and in one piece as I can manage. So that's where I'm heading next.
The flight to Marcus is a relatively quiet one. As you move across the night sky, we shift our view once more back to Mason, who pauses mid-hunt, the target of his ire pinned to the ground, one boot across the back of their neck, holding them in place as he scans his phone, firing off a quick text. And the person struggling underneath him, I told you I don't know where the girls are, man. Get off me.
Fine, you're useless. Wait, Can I let you go? Will you tell anyone about this?
What do you mean I won't tell anybody about this? I'm gonna tell your mama, bitch.
That's not very nice.
Neither is you. If you won't,
I'll punch him in the gut. Not full force, but like half force, because if I did full force, I'd probably break his body.
Alright, well, you're just going to go ahead and roll strength plus brawl for me, please.
Thank you. That's no.
What are you attempting to rouse?
Me?
Yeah. Nope, that was sorry. I missed.
Oh, so.
Never mind.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh. Well, there are certain things that shouldn't happen, And they clearly do. What is Mason's strength?
3. Wait, is that correct? I'm pretty sure that's correct. Yeah, 3. I just looked at it.
Well, as he says, I'm going to tell you the contents of his very cheaply obtained dinner further sullies Mason's attire as he drops in the most pain he's experienced in quite some time. You've done effectively 4 levels of damage to this gentleman.
Jesus.
You have ruptured and caused internal bleeding. Part of his lunch, part of his dinner, which was a three taco for $2 special that he picked up from one of the eloteros, did not come with a side order of stomach acid and blood, but what spills across Mason's pants and down his leg, some of it splattering across his wrist and forearm, is in fact that. Be so kind, just go ahead and roll your resolve and composure for me.
Oh, okay, cool.
Because as disgusting as the idea of emptying his stomach contents violently is, the unmistakable iron-laced and copper-tinged hint of blood explodes into the air with the same force as his dinner. And that odoriferous whiff causes Mason to immediately, not out loud, but to hear the voice of, "You stink so nice."
Uh-oh.
Choking back his need and want, very real, almost stooping to a level that he heretofore has not deigned within his purview, Mason takes a half a step back in disgust, not of the contents of this man's stomach, not at the fact that it just further sullied his ensemble, but because for more than a fleeting microsecond, he very much considered emptying this man's veins down his gullet as one would a Go-Gurt.
Almost though.
And moving the pace of his disgust for that moment, where is it that Mason will head? He looks a sight. There's no one and nothing that would not mark his passing. He looks as if he had been buried for 10,000 years.
Well, first off, I look up of a map, but like where I'm at.
Okay, and just for the record, what sort of phone? Just
iPhone 10. Since he's rich enough, he doesn't have the that he's not very techy, but since he has money and apparently Apple's like the best, so you know.
You can almost hear Marcus rolling his eyes right now.
He could. Wow, okay, fine. Be that way. If I fail,
Well, with any luck, if fate is on Marcus's side.
It's not.
All right. So, as Marcus scans his phone, opening up the locations app and where he is geolocated based on Apple's maps and satellites, the world hazes over red. The edges of his visions blur and waver as if the world is on fire. Would you be so kind as to... There's a choice, and and it's the last-ditch effort of any humanity that Mason may have. He knows what this is. He has been in this state similarly enough to know that the difference between him, his dark side, and that super dark side that lays just beneath the two, it's falling away. He knows that there is literally a hair's breadth of a moment for him to do something, do one good thing or one heinous thing to assist. And as that knowledge settles in, will Mason ride the wave, give over to his beast, allow it to do what it is that it will do?
I mean, this is hard because I know that there's sustenance right there that's like all broken up, but still, it's still sustenance. But I don't really know what else to do besides drink for the guy I was just threatening.
So are you going to give up the fight, to give in to the beast, or are you going to attempt to ride that wave, taking what control you can?
I'll try to ride the wave, try and resist.
Okay. Well, riding the wave isn't so much as resisting; it's more grabbing onto the bull with as much strength and diligence as you can to steer it away from the larger crowd and hang on for that full 7 seconds. You know that you're not in control, but by holding on and keeping it, you can kind of nudge it as best as you can. You can kind of guide it and hold on without losing yourself. If you make it to the 7 seconds, you know that the beast will tire out. You know that you'll have another opportunity to hop free of it, so it won't have control of you. Or you can.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna try to ride the bull.
Excellent. So, that being the case, you need sustenance. What is it that you're doing? What is it that your beast is maneuvering and making Mason do?
Oh, I get to control. Okay. So let me get into a beastly mindset. So Mason, having turned away from the broken man thing that just got punched by a skinny man, and all of his body is broken. He ignores it because something tells him that something's like making him like think that nothing's behind him. So he just charges ahead forward and whatnot. Mason hoping, actual Mason hoping that there might be some animal or something that will soothe the beast for like in the next 7 seconds.
So this mindless force is attempting to find a life to divest from this world, to remove from this world, because that's the only thing that will satiate it. Running covered in blood, sewer runoff, mud, muck and mire, dirt, dust, and someone's dinner. This horrible, shambling mess of a too fast, too strong thing finds its way into one of the few restaurants open in this area. There are roughly seven. There are roughly 7 people in the building. 4 of them cooks, 3 of them customers. One of the cooks is at the register. She looks over the register and is unsure what it is that she's seeing. She wants to say crackhead, maybe meth head, but even they occasionally will dance in the rain, which makes them not quite seem as dirty as they really are. She's not sure if they have all their teeth. She can't decide, meth or crack, one of the two, probably a combination of the both. And while she's trying to suss out what this horrible, snarling thing is, the customers, the 3 inside, 2 dressed as if they are extras from a late 90s rap video, and 1 dressed as if they are the prototypical good college kid, clean cut hairstyle, backpack only on one shoulder, white Air Force Ones, and jeans that would be best described as dad jeans.
Yes, that's amazing. Oh, oof. What's cooking?
Chicken, gyros, tacos. This is a typical Midwest greasy spoon. There's a smell of onions and peppers and ground meats of various animals all throughout the place. And the walls look as if they have been cooking this greasy melange for years. What is it that you're feeding from? There must be death. There must be an excess of... You entered into nirvana. There's nothing here but victims and time. What is it that you're doing?
Oof. So this is a restaurant, though. Am I lucky enough to stumble in like a one-star restaurant that has like rats in it? Is there any animal such and such on the floor?
No.
Okay. Oof. How much time has passed?
Not enough. Only a minute.
Okay. Oh, I really don't know what to do. Too many choices, and I feel like if I gave it to Beast before earlier, it was already in a secluded area, but how easy is it? It's probably not that easy for a vampire to get knocked out. There's three people in this. There's one chef and then... No, wait, 4 people. Or something like that.
Yes, there's 7. There are 4 in the back cooking, counting the cashier. 3 on this side of the counter. 3 on this side of the register.
Is there a bathroom? Oh. Oh, okay. Here we go. Well, if we're thinking that, now I'm free. Mason looks at the chef, and he can no longer hold back. He grabs the chef and just like crunches on the juicy neck.
You, my friend, are a killer.
I mean, am I though? This happened because I was just trying to use the phone.
Alright, so as we fade to black, as Mason chomps down, biting through the carotid and the trachea, all in one wide mouth go. The splurt of the blood blotting out the camera for all of the many things that take place in that space. Looking at Mason's strength, speed, and the sheer surprise of such a monstrous thing walking into the establishment, would you be so kind as to... We're going to have you roll for it. Would you roll 2d10 for me?
Okay.
Well, now. All right. lot. All right, so we shift away with the splatter of blood across the camera to Marcus. Having received those texts, or having received those messages, what is it that lays before him?
Well, the screen's on the... He's up in the office where he has his main computer, so that room looks like it comes straight out of the Matrix. The computer is a multi-tower server rig with like 6 screens, and all of them are lit up. Some of them with split window, multiple tabs. It's just a train wreck of nightmare. But he is keeping up with the texts. He's still scrolling through camera images.
There's an annoying factor that keeps playing havoc with him, mentally and emotionally. With what he's experienced the night before, what he's come face to face, his long dark night of the soul that he survived. There's normally the stuff that would drive in the pulp novels of old people to realizing the magic that is within them, realizing the focus that they have, realizing their darkness. Oftentimes in heroic fantasies, your causes the hero to rise above that. And while it's a trope in and of itself, it very much is a thing that knowing how low you can fall can provide a certain level of confidence in the things that you do well, in your darling. Technology is Marcus's darling. It is one of the many facets of his life that he has always been able to control, mediate, and to use to its penultimate ends, whatever he decides to are. As he searches, as he cross-checks and cross-references, as he hides and ducks, dips, and dodges through the invisible world of the internet, looking at his operational speeds, while to the naked eye, to the average user, there's no difference. To him, an issue of microseconds is more than a molehill mountain. And the fact that it appears as if every time he gets close, every time that image is on the tip of his mental tongue comes close enough to be spit forth, there appears to be a fractional microsecond of throbbing to his system, as if it is being funneled.
Well, that's not good. I'm gonna keep running searches. Just to keep all the screens running, changing images. I'm adding in different searches, maps, and all kinds of crazy shit, just randomly bringing it up. At the same time, I'm calling up a subroutine for Renfield to shut down all the external connections. My computer is hardwired only. There's no wireless connection to it. That's why I have to come to the office to use it. So I have it kill its network connection outside of the building.
Looking at the sun, it leaves an after image. It leaves a ghost image even when you close your eyes. And as your connection drops to zero, as the world is shunted off from you, there's a fleeting after image, the last bit of information that filtered across before all lines were cut. And it was a Ballard Company subsidiary of Pentex bit. It was purportedly a small portion or part of the whole that was easily replaceable, but key component to that particular camera working. And as that information sits there, blinking across Marcus's mental eye, the after image of staring into the sun, as many, many questions are raised.
Well, as with the hardline connection severed, he's just going to bring up a standard notepad file and rapidly type in everything he can remember from that last connection. So he has reference material for later, because tonight's probably not going to be any less exciting than last night, and I don't want to forget nothing. So I just pound out all the information that I can gather from my memory. And then I'm going to head down to the Audi and pop the trunk and get one of Gooberhead's suits out. I'm half tempted to jump in the car, but hot wiring an Audi is a pain in the ass, and I've got the love bug right here.
So grabbing...
Go ahead.
So grabbing his suit and hopping into Herbie, where is it that you might head on to?
Well, as he hasn't actually flashed back an actual address yet, I'm gonna hold, get some things together. The gun that Aces gave me, I don't have ammunition for, so I'm gonna check, see how many rounds it has left. I'm also gonna grab my trench coat, because that actually hides my body a little bit, so I'm not as easily recognized on sight at a distance. I'm also going to grab a small pile of money to stick in my pocket, just so I have something, because I know Mason used up most of his trying to get us out of one problem or another.
Yes, that man deposited enough to make any normal officer retire.
Yeah. So right now I know he's not got cash on him. I mean, and credit cards aren't good for bribes, so I'm bringing a small bribe fund for Mason to use.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to wait until he texts me back to determine where we're going. I am going to set up a trap and trace on Renfield. I'm going to check the firewall system and input one of my trap and traces, so it'll watch more closely what's going on when it's actually connected. I'm not going to reconnect it now, because that's a problem for another time. But I think, yeah, at that point I've done just about everything I can here. So I'm going to have to sit and wait, because randomly going out in the love bug is not a good plan. I need Mason to come back to me, or Ben to come back to me off of the text that got sent out.
Well, you know what they say, speak of the devil and they shall appear. As you settle into behind the wheel of the love bug, waiting as to which direction to head out into the night, Ben, with the information that you've seen, with the activity that has appeared on your what they made pretend, heading back to the farmer's market. True to his word, Marcus has, even in his absent-minded being prepared for nearly everything, left the upper window open. There is egress. You don't have to scrabble and shift forms before entering, so you can unnoticedly slip into the farmer's market, you and any other bird that had the intelligence to do so. So, house. Luckily tonight, it's just you.
And she's thankful for that and kind of darts through, swoops down, makes a circuit, sees him in the bug, and carefully lands on the hood looking at him. Being careful not to dig her claws in, obviously, and scratch up the paint, because that would hurt her probably more than it would hurt him. But just kind of hoots at him. And then hops down and changes back.
Hey, boss. I just want to start off this whole conversation with, it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it.
What wasn't your fault?
We got the truck. I grabbed the right truck. I didn't get anything expensive. I picked the right one. Mason was driving because he's a better driver than me. He was going to talk us through, and Aces started to lose his shit.
Oh God, we should have killed him when he had the chance.
And unfortunately, he set me off, and I completely lost my shit. But before the beating start, I didn't lose my shit on anyone. But the stuff he was saying got in my head, and I freaked out a little. And then they shot us full of holes.
A what?
As soon as Aces started to freak out, the cops started to freak out. Mason hit the gas, and they shot the truck to shit. Mason was down, Bricks was down. Aces and me were the only two that were even remotely mobile. But I was in full freakout mode, and my beast got me the hell out of there. It even showed me a new trick with my super speed. I did a flash thing that I had never done before. It was actually kind of awesome. But I ran. I vaguely remember Aces grabbing everybody and getting out, because we managed to get far enough away from the cops that we could, after we crashed, we could all get away. But Aces was able to pull everybody else out, but that's the last thing I remember seeing. I kind of came into myself on the banks of the big stream.
Well, obviously Mason is okay. I've heard from him.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. I've not heard from Mamela, which worries me. The cop presence outside right now is a bit crazy. And then I expunged everything I saw in my sweeping. The depot is pretty much still locked down. I'm sorry, the Camaro has probably been towed. They towed every car on the street, so you might still be able to get it back. They found all the entrances and exits to the depot, so there is no way to get in or out of there. There was also I'm guessing the site of you guys getting shot up. It's locked down as well. There's state troopers. They are in force outside right now, and I don't know what the hell is going on, but we are going to have to be extremely careful. I'm going to reach out to Silk and see if they made it at least a little bit safely to where they were going, seeing as how you were their ride and you never made it. Last night was very long for everybody.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have direct contact information for anybody except for Silk. And
Well, that's who we need to contact.
Well, I was waiting for you to do that part because I don't wanna.
I'll contact him.
As all I can say is that the police going full throttle that fast seems unusual to me. So I think
They were tipped off from outside sources, and we know that.
Yeah, but I think there are specific outside sources. Because, I mean, I don't know what they said about us, but it must have been pretty bad for Gary PD and Indiana State Troopers to just start opening fire. Also, there was a minivan involved in the traffic stop where we tried to get through, and it had a weird-ass camera. Old. I mean, old. And...
That's strange.
Yeah, and odd-looking. I started doing some research, but Renfield started to act a little weird, so... I've got Renfield cut off from the outside right now. But I've got a trap and trace I'm going to put on it just to see what that weirdness might have been.
I have no clue what the hell that means, but I trust you.
There's part of the information I found when I was running down all this stuff was a name Theist? One of those three. Depending on the I read the word, but it can be pronounced any one of those ways depending on what language it's coming from.
Theist.
I was really hoping it wasn't that.
Yeah.
But it's involved. That word came up once or twice in all the older things that I was looking at. So, but right now, I'm just waiting for Marcus to get back to me so we can figure out how to go collect him without ending up getting all shot up again. Because right now, I rattle when I walk. I've got so many bullet holes in me. And I'm all out of blood again.
Are they all sealed? Would you like me to dig them out?
Oh, they're not sealed. I didn't heal anything. I don't have any blood. So I didn't want to risk.
Well, get on the table and I'll get them out.
Oh, I hate this part.
I know.
So
She pats him on the face.
so he gets on the work table, pulls off the trench coat again, pulls off the t-shirt, and
you have seen less holes in an entire warehouse of Swiss cheese. He has been riddled, which lets you know the shape of the vehicle, and you're surprised that it was able to move beyond the initial contact. The level of aggression that would be responsible for that number of shells being aimed at any singular person is borderline genetic. This is the result of a rage and fear operating in concert. And as Ben looks into the mess that is the body of Marcus, she's immediately taken back to women were not supposed to be anywhere near the front. And as that was the standard operating procedure, being nurses, being WACs, being helpmaids to the combat, occasionally being mechanics when the supply of men, well, be very honest, boys was light enough where they were at a deficit, learning a trade that she knew would not be possible for her to practice upon returning stateside. There she was, elbows deep into a supply truck, its front end having been riddled with bullets. The siren sounded, the warning of encroaching attack or bombardment, and just like that, the tables turned as one after the other of a endless sea of men began pouring in, and they were not dressed in any of the Allied uniforms. It was clear that there were two things that would happen. People would die, and families would mourn. Determined to not be one of those two outcomes, Ben snatched at the M4 nearby, kept on loan, never to be really used by any of the females, as they were so far from the front line. Taking up a defensive position and returning fire as wave after wave of boys and men poured towards her, many looking like the very, and then she's back looking into Marcus's thin form, the bullets there riddled within, the sheer enmity, the sheer need to destroy, the fear of what he could have been, clear in the number of shells that riddled his body. And as those thoughts bombard Ben and her hand wavers over the first initial extraction, we turn our gaze towards Mason, covered in the life's ichor. It is no longer really quite quantifiably in blood, because it has properly mixed with the filth that was his former seeming, now tinged red with pink bits of flesh and gobbets of things, all standing in the mess of this restaurant, the register overturned, the guests half in and half out of the kitchen, the front door almost off of its hinges.
Oh. Did I kill this chef?
There is nothing remotely breathing in the place save Mason. He has satiated himself beyond all semblance of satiation.
Wait. Everyone's dead?
And as those thoughts bombard him, he realizes that there's hot water here. The food, which is burning on the flat top griddle and in the fryer, is not that big of an annoyance, but here behind the register, there's a bathroom. He's not sure why he knows that, but it's clearly some last vestige of something that he saw for entering and exiting.
Okay. So, I can't think of a song right now, but just think like some like 50s song is playing right now in the background. Mason walks over to like the starts, if there's a shower, he checks if there's a shower, and if there's a shower, he
Not a shower, but there's a sink.
There's a sink. Okay, so he starts the sink to make it start running hot water. And while that's doing, he walks back to the kitchen and starts. He turns off all the fire and then makes sure the gas stays on. Though, he turns it off then turns it back on, but doesn't start like flickering it to make gas start coming around in the entire restaurant. Gas leaks happen all the time. Because I'm not cleaning all this up. And I don't believe I know anybody who can easily cover this up, so I'm going to do it myself.
I see.
After I get some gook off me first. Once I start smelling the gas in the bathroom, I will start walking out, and there's probably a match somewhere in the thing I can just quickly in the kitchen or in the restaurant I can grab and just like light and throw in the into the restaurant. Okay. Making sure there's no one can see me. or recognize me. I guess they can't really recognize a walking, shambling corpse, but still. So what's my hunger at then?
You don't have any.
Oh, that's never happened before.
It is with all due surprise as Mason does a quick self-check as to his beast, and he doesn't hear it prowling on padded foot just beneath his nose inside his head. He doesn't feel it pulling at his innards, seeking escape. This is the first time where that ever-present shadow of life in me isn't.
Did I lose any humanity?
Of course, everyone loses humanity. It's the nature of the game.
So how much did I lose? Oh, did you send it to me? Okay. So Mason's thinking, almost lost my cool there and whatnot.
It was that first bite. It's like popping a tin of Pringles. You know you should only have none because I actually quantify as chips. However, they do hit that spot. They're just crunchy enough and they're just flavorful enough that before you realize it, you are more than halfway through the tin. There's no sense of putting away the tin with just less than a quarter of chips left. And so you want to eat a few more, make sure that you've done your good job for the day. You finished something.
Mm-hmm.
You started something and you finished it. And there before you is what happens when the beast is given the opportunity to sneak up on you and pounce like the predator that it is. Before you know it, it has subsumed life. It has taken everything from someone. And in this case, quite a few someones. As you strike a match, you realize from a club called the Pisketeers Lounge, you toss the book into the building. And let's say that Mason managed to move far enough, quickly enough, as the force.
Oh crap! I didn't check how many corpses there were. Like I like the specific number of corpses, because how many people were in the restaurant? Well.
And all of those thoughts that he bombard him as a fiction writer, as someone who does others do miles and miles of research, come haunting him as he is knocked prone with the ear-rattling rush of heat and flame as the glass windows blow outward, shattering every semblance of peace. There's no way that anyone anywhere within the city limits of Gary did not hear that. There's no one anywhere in any corner of Gary that did not feel that earth-moving, catastrophic explosion.
I think the party knows where Mason is now. Yeah. Oh, this is great.
So, on his back, is there anything for Mason? Because he just saw his life, his unlife, the several decades of his existence flash before his eyes as the world of flame, glass, and far too much. There's a scent in the air that he has never smelled before. He's been around gas, around cooked food, but there is something else there. There is that unmistakable olfactory experience that he has never had before. And the fact that he had blushed, he had roused the blood to utilize everything that he needed to feel he is unfortunately able to feel just how much it hurts being anywhere within 20 feet of an explosion. He knows how much it hurts to be in the path of a storm of flying glass. He knows what it feels like to meet the ground unexpectedly blown off his feet.
Mason, like, he just tries to get away without saying anything to the air, which is not like Mason, but still.
As he beats feet and spanks planks, making his way everywhere due away, is there a particular location he's intending to head closer to?
Oh, well, I guess I'll start heading towards the farmer's market.
Alright, sounds like a plan. So as he makes his way from one darkened alcove to the next, skirting around the full, unbridled, immediate response of emergency services, which have been spread extraordinarily thin over the last few nights, we take a quick 10-minute. So we'll be back here at 6 minutes after the hour, and we'll be back then. Thanks a lot, guys. Be sure. Cities. Act of accidental terrorism that has been unleashed due to Mason's actions.
Are we my ass? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to say that out loud.
Are we all back?
I'm here.
Ben's still muted, but I'm assuming floating about.
Well, shifting views to Mason and Ben. Ben hovering over Mason. Extractor left by Joshua several nights before. What's Marcus's head at this point?
Marcus is trying to be quote-unquote brave about the whole thing, but he is not having fun.
The wavering of Ben's hand, nothing that has ever really been seen. The look in her eye is definitively not one he's ever seen, where it is a absence of the most eerie sort. In that moment, standing above him is clearly a corpse devoid of conscience, as she is clearly not present. The moment her hand begins to waver, there is a loud, for this moment, anyway, muffled boom. Although simplifying it to a boom is more firing a gun range, material pops one and the other. This is the sort of muffled, explosive oral damage that usually is only heard in and around Memorial Day, July the 4th, a very busy Friday night, or if the casino down the road as well is having a relatively large group or performer. Those are definitely fireworks of some sort, not the casual variety.
So, as she's plucking bullets out of me, we hear the loud whomp.
Yes.
Marcus sits bolt upright, regardless of what implement is currently sticking in him. And stares wide-eyed in the direction of the feeling. What in the unholy... Oh, crap. I think we found Mason. At which point he notices that there's still a set of pliers sticking in him. And grunts in pain.
Okay. And while that moment is taking place, Marcus, Ben, Mason, would you be so kind? I'm taking it that his imagination has run rampant and he's seeking to avoid the oncoming sirens and sounds of first responders rushing towards his area.
Well, seeing as I just washed up, there's no way I'm going to go into the sewer and try to hide from these stuff. but seeing as I'm also look like a zombie still, even though I washed my face off and whatnot and my arms, I'm still basically probably riddled with bullet holes and my clothes are probably shredded.
Yes.
So, I wish Mason had more stealthing abilities. Besides, that's definitely not gonna probably work, but it might work if he runs into anybody. So Mason's gonna try and just keep to the alleyways, trying to head over to to a spot where he can text the group where he's at.
Okay. So would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your resolve plus stealth and then fire off your text in the chat.
Wait, did I upgrade my resolve? Oh wait, shit, that was wrong. Sorry.
Okay. I think no one is specifically looking solely for Mason. He finds a relatively out of the way place to malinger a bit and fire off a communication. As Marcus, having sat up with the extractor still embedded in his flesh, and Ben come back from those moments so many decades ago, the explosion echoing in the reverberating in the silence. What is it that Ben and Marcus choose to do? Mason fires off.
Marcus is gonna let Ben come back into herself and pull the pliers carefully out of himself. I think it's time we gotta go. I know there's either that's Aces or that's Mason that just blew something up. So At least we have a direction right now. If you want to jump at the back of the bug, we can get there. I have replacement clothes for him.
And as you're saying that Mason's text.
Sorry about the text. It's like I didn't know how to think of two street names. So it's this street and that street.
Judging from where we crashed, so he's somewhere in this neighborhood. It's not far. We can be there in a couple of minutes.
I have a strange feeling. Do you have a police scanner?
I have an everything scanner. I got ham radio, police scanner. I've got some military bands, the ones that I can look up easily.
As much as I'd like to go rushing out and extracting him from wherever he is, I just turn on the police scanner for me, because I'm being cautious.
Marcus goes over to one of his way too many cabinets and pulls out receivers of different size and variations until he finds an oldish 80s model Radio Shack unit, and plugs it in, finds a speaker for it, and starts scanning the local police frequencies. You gotta get one of these older units. They don't have the frequencies locked out.
No, they clearly and confidently count that no one would bother to do the research to find out which frequency they're on. Unfortunately for Marcus, it's as easy as tying his shoes, especially with such an underserved financial department. They use a combination of both 10 and 11 codes. There is a full spectrum of 1010s, code 77s. There's even a potential 999 going out across their spectrums. There's another contravening 11.6, a um, 1141. There's 1144s. They are firing off nearly every signal, every 10 or 11 code, and then the one you are hoping to not hear. An 1186, which for those aware as to all of the old 1186 bomb. So in this case, combined with all of the other codes flying because of the reports back and forth from 911, plus clearly those on the scene, a bomb threat in this case means that an explosion solely based on the other codes that have been flying and are still flying across their bandwidth.
Are there addresses attached to any of these?
Oh yeah, they're firing off a shit ton of addresses all on the same block, literally geolocating from 911 officers on scene and everything else. That block will be swarmed in roughly 6 minutes. There's even ambulance codes being flashed, ER codes being flashed across the bandwidth. There's a code 40. There's a code 30 and a code 10. There's several code 14s, a code 17F. They are literally all points converging. Previous investigations already mid-process are being dropped. As many people as they can are on the way towards that location. And you hear it again, though you hear the standard scanner code of 52E, which is explosives, and unknown potential 54 in progress, which is just combustible materials, and 52F, which is fire. They are going absolute crazy in terms of the codes that are flying. They're literally saying that something exploded. There's fire in transmission. They suspect that it was a bomb. There are critical injuries on site. There is a potentiality that this is an ambush, so proceed with caution. They're going absolutely mad because gunshots, stabbings, muggings, beatings, carjackings, kidnappings, those are all run in the mill. Actual explosion within the city limits doesn't matter entirely. Combined with the events of the previous nights, it has every paranoid person up.
Ben, tell him to head south. Judging from the address and all the codes, everybody's coming. And so he needs to head south fast. If he's anywhere near where we crashed, he's got to be inside the neighborhood on the other side of the river. If he can get to Clay Street or Liverpool Road, he can get to the park and hide in there.
He's roughly 4 blocks away from there. Based on the streets that he would have given you, he's roughly 4 blocks from the park, and he is, unfortunately, unbeknownst to him, having no experience with stealth, clearly in the open and looking like a fastidious crackhead, lost all sense of calm. He's covered in remnants of all sorts of things. If anyone gets close enough to notice that some of the things that he is encased in, i.e. bits of glass, they jig it up, loose is cooked, significant.
The neighborhood's right across the river from the factory. But if we take the car, we can be there in a couple of minutes. Hopefully pick him up and get him out before everybody and their mother shows up.
6 minutes, provided you don't hit any traffic.
That's one of the reasons why I picked this shitty neighborhood.
Ben's been texting back and forth with Mason this whole time, telling him to go south like Marcus said, so he said he's going to go south and head for Clay, try to make it to the park so that we can pick him up on the other side of the park. We have to avoid the cops at all costs.
Okay. Well, at that, I jump in the love bug, start my little monster up, and I'm going to head up Liverpool and cut across to the southwest corner of Columbus Park. And probably park on the upside of Benton's, or the downside of Benton Street. That way, hopefully, no one will get squirrely. The big house on the corner has trees all the way around it, so they really won't see us.
Okay. Over or under?
Oh, always under.
All right, even or odd?
Even.
That's the argument we're looking to. We're going to do a quick die roll. You have roughly 25% chance of not running in police history, or odd and over or under, giving us where we are hoping from now. Over here. What has fate decided for you? In that quick little 6-minute drive out. Sorry for the dead air.
It's fine. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that Ben stayed behind at the depot to play dispatcher and keep listening to the police radio so that I can keep updating Marcus as to where they are and how far out they are to hopefully circumnavigate them to keep them away from each other.
Marcus is already thinking about his plan B.
Then would you be looking at roll intelligence plus technology? -1.
Intelligence
And
plus what?
Ben, roll intelligence plus technology -1. And Marcus roll wits plus drive.
Yeah, I'm gonna willpower the shit out of that.
Why would you want to willpower that? There's nothing wrong with that.
Critical! Woo!
Hey, Rock. You know what it's like,
You know, just clicking the dot works now. At least for me, it does. Yeah.
Well, let's see what fate has in store for you. Alright, so amongst the three of you all, who at 1, 2 was successful? Marcus, Ben, or Mason?
Say what, huh?
Wait, what do I roll?
Between the three of you, with these previous rolls. Everyone had 1 success except for Marcus. Of the 3 of you, was successful.
I have 4 successes.
Huh?
Oh, yeah, 2 10s. Nope.
Well, I only had 1 success. I had a really small pool, so.
Wait, am I confused? I think I'm confused.
No, you're good.
Oh, okay.
You rolled a 1 on your effort.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, simplifying it, because those were 2 10s, and by not clicking the emoticon underneath, it did combine them, and it should have. So that being the case, the newfangled, stupid amount of sheer, unbiased information flooding through the police scanner would have anyone listening believe that they have unleashed the National Guard. They've called in every favor to every police station, to every law enforcement agency.
Didn't they do that yesterday?
Within a square mile. It is clear that most of the cities, villages, and towns within a 20-mile radius of Gary at this point are probably well into overtime. This is the second of full court presses, at least it would seem as such, based on all the information being bombarded through monitoring chain airway. And while carefully and quickly moving a pace and away from the center of their focus, Mason, unfortunately, you are greeted with a very diligent volunteer auxiliary police officer who is rushing towards the scene to be as much of an assistance as he possibly can, and you unfortunately look like who the, when the, what the, all rolled into one. His attention is on you. He is pursuing you as if you were the person responsible for him being born prematurely and disappearing after he arrived into this world. He and his assistant auxiliary member are hounding your tracks like bloodhounds. Marcus, however, even with all the search fate of information coming from all different sources and the sound of sirens, you managed to navigate around them and arrive at the park in time to see Marcus having reached the end of it, to find Mason having reached the end of his rope, because there was no way for him to shake the bloodhounds on his track, and they're hounding him. They're calling in their cell phone. They're demanding you stop moving. Just stop walking. What are you doing? Get over here. And Ben is in your ear. Oh my God, they've reached out to College Station. Oh my God, they've reached out to, and she's listing towns who are signing on with their call signs and they're en route. And there's even a call reaching as far as east Chicago. It is an absolute 100% cluster of fox once more. Save this time, they're heading away from where you are directly, but because of the attention that Mason has obtained, they will be sparing forces.
Man, it's like they know I threw a match into a kitchen.
It was just a match.
It was just a match.
Okay, so I see Mason and his 2 fans.
Yes, and they're closing and trying to get closer to them, clearly to do or place him under arrest of some sort.
And they're coming basically towards me.
Yep.
Okay, time to do something stupid. I'm sitting in a dark car right now, waiting at the corner of Benton and Liverpool. I know how close I am to the house, and I have 2 or 3 different ways to get there, but I need to get Mason. So, without turning on any lights, I'm going to turn the car so it's facing Mason and his 2 followers, coming towards me.
Mhm.
When they get within 30 feet, I'm going to throw on the high beams.
The high beams, I might just turn to dust, man.
They're only 55 candlelight LED. Shut up. You'll be fine.
All right. 2 things happen. Not the several hundred that you're normally accustomed to. Marcus, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your manipulation plus drive? And Mason, would you be so kind to roll your wits plus insight to know that in fact, that blinding light is in fact Marcus, and they will roll their sheer surprise, and hopefully they won't fear too much.
I am so glad right now that I'm not rolling crappy dice right now. Keep thinking I have to put hunger, but I don't. Why didn't that work? Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, drive and manipulation are not high points in Marcus's repertoire.
Really? Are you sure about that?
Are you sure about that, my man? My man.
Okay.
wait. Is the car going to turn into a
Transformer?
into a vampire?
Well, no, but now it's pointed directly at them with the high beams on. So this could get interesting fast.
They are shocked and startled, partially because of the sheer blinding aurora borealis that erupts in front of them as Marcus all but blinds them, and partially because through that blindness they get a chance to see that dirty, despicable bum that they have been trailing, who refused to simply stop, is caked, covered, and awash in God knows what, and none of it seems anything near the
Wait.
of word.
Is there light coming through me as well, though?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're completely silhouetted by some really bright LED high beams.
So when Ben sees me, she's gonna be like, "Wait a second. I just patched Marcus up, and I thought he looked like Swiss cheese."
Yeah, I look bad, but damn. So, I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that I just startled the crap out of these guys, and I'm a little high on the whole watching them get startled thing. So I'm gonna roar all 1800 cc's of manly power, gun the engine, throw open the passenger door, and drive up and get next to Mason, so he can jump in.
All right. Well, that's easy enough. No roll necessary because there's not any chance that you could accidentally overshoot or clip them in the process. As you floor the V-dub forward, Mason, would you be so kind as to roll your dexterity and athletics? On anything less than a 2 successes, you overshoot yourself as quickly as the car is. Just your natural grace and talent, your skill. They, however, got their one complete total surprise, and let's roll their composure and see if there's any opportunity. They will not do the most foolish self-preservational actions that they possibly can.
So that was a difficulty of 2.
Yep.
That's a $.
$2.
Oh wait, oh, damn it. Wrong. Sorry. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Zero, Zettel, and now that's there we go.
Marcus Mason has never seen more smooth. He has never seen more the definition of grace. That is until he gets close enough that you can inhale the scent of last night's activities below the city streets. That is before he gets close enough that you inhale the telltale scent of cordite. Before he's close enough to realize that you didn't realize that he ate tacos, but they're somehow all over his pants and himself. He smells as if he has been through the very bowels of hell, and emphasis.
That's for sure.
However, the fear response in the auxiliary officers who are present results in the gentleman turning heels and immediately beating feet as far and fast away from
thank God.
as he is radioed while calling and his cell phone and screaming bloody murder. Oh my God, there's fucking zombies. Get here quick. We are over.
Fucking zombies. Oh no.
The woman,
I
however,
feel like this is the beach of the masquerade.
The woman, however, her fear response is to shoot it dead and stop it from moving, and she immediately falls into the fire, a shooter's crouch, and starts letting off shots. They're going wide, but there's no way that anyone would not be able to understand that there is something equally or close enough to attract attention to this area. While most of the locals of Gary will not probably say much except for there was a shootout over there and never to the cops. However, there is attention being focused in this direction. What is it that you get?
So I jumped forward on Benton Street.
Well, did I recognize the whatchamacallit as Mason, as Marcus's?
Yes.
Okay. Then I hopped in the car.
Yeah, there's no way you wouldn't be able to tell it's my car. You know my car. It's literally painted like Herbie the Love Bug.
No, it's growing on me.
She is my aluminum foil warrior. So the what's her face gets in a shooter's crouch and is just basically blind firing into the lights.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so
Bye Kirby. Wait, no, Kirby can heal, right?
Herbie's engine is in the back, so getting shot at in the front isn't a big deal.
Oh yeah, but Kirby can also heal.
Well, it looks like Herbie. It isn't actually Herbie. Focus, Mason. Come on. So one guy's running up Benton Street. She's crouched. I'm gonna take the left and head down Liverpool and get out. And as soon as I can take another left on State Street, I'm gonna get closer to the river and take Park Ave up and stay off the main drag that is Liverpool.
Very nice, very nice. There will be a potential for fear to set in the correct number instead of seeing it as, she may see it as 35, she may remember it as 8, she may remember it as nothing more than a blinding light as the zombie was absorbed into the other world, but either way, it has been notable. This evening has been her definition of what never to experience. She finds that there is proof that the other side exists, that magic is real, and it is here to devour them all. That explosion was clearly triggered by some demon. And these are all the things that Ben is hearing via the police as they're relaying in coded fashion the call from the auxiliary officer just a few blocks from the explosion. as Marcus and Mason ease into the farmer's market.
Okay, but first, I look at Mason. I mean, Marcus. I keep doing that. I feel like I should change my name. But it's too late. But anyways, I look at Marcus and go, sometimes I wish you were a normal venture, because then you could mind wipe those people.
You know,
But
they said that.
but don't worry, I still love you for who you are.
Your seat, your suit is in the back seat, by the way, and you can use the chemical shower back at the factory when we get there.
The fuck is a chemical shower?
Well, in case you get like acid or something on you, I make a lot of weird shit in the factory. I have to have the safety equipment. I got the eye wash thing. I got the chemical shower. It's all safety first, man. As we pull into the factory, I hop out of the love bug and close the big barn doors.
That is the most polite way anyone has told you that you stink so bad that you must bathe in a chemical wash to remove every semblance of anything that you might have left.
I'm going to be cleaning bits of masonry and shredded glass out of that drain for a month.
Yes, that and so much more. You know that you are dead. You know that you are deceased. You know that there is some foul, mystical power that keeps you all ambulatory. That has never been more clear than the fact that the only visible part of Mason that is undamaged are his eyes, nose, and lips. Everything else has been awash in some vicious, clearly physically altering issue, from the shards of glass, masonry, and bits of human bone that have been punched through him as significant force to drag along various parts of his own corpse with it, to the bullet holes, some of which are still close enough to the surface that you can tell what caliber the bullets were as they met bone. Bits and pieces of his rib cage are exposed because they were torn away between the bullets, the explosion, and his dirt nap that he took alongside Frick. He is covered in all manner of viscera, from just simple muddy dirt to slime and sludge spillover from the sewers, along with the accompanying viscera of human forms being forcefully torn apart.
Yeah, he was already fucked up before we got shot.
And yet, his face is washed. up to his elbows on both arms are clean. There's a bit of soot near the fingers, but otherwise, everything else is awash in filth. Those areas are nice.
I feel like such a prick.
Ben's eyes are like saucers staring at him right now, like in absolute abject shock as to what the actual hell is going on.
Quite the last few nights.
So I show him where the chemical shower is, and it's basically just a booth with a pull chain and a big, like, dinner plate size shower head. And the water doesn't have any, there's no temperature control, it's just pull the chain and it washes you inside a booth with a big drain in the middle of it. Yeah, it's definitely meant for an emergency. Like, it isn't a house shower. It's a, you spilled something bad on you, you need to get it off shower. And then I hang the suit up next to it and let Mason do Mason.
Mason just walks over and just like grabs and just holds and holds and holds the thing down and not just like for the solid 20 minutes or until Marcus yelled at Mason to get out of the shower.
There's a 5,000 gallon tub on the roof, so go nuts.
Oh. So yeah, 20 minutes, maybe even 40 minutes.
Well, he's doing that. Marcus obediently gets back on the table so he can have the rest of the bullets pulled out. And at this point, he's now listening to the scanner and trying to filter out just the local stuff, paying attention to just the local stuff. And tells Renfield to kill all the outside lights at the factory. So the factory looks closed. So Farmer's Market looks closed.
Renfield, of course, obeys without there being anything. The troubling part of it all is that while the city is aflame in regards to the responses of the last few nights, there is troubling notices in the fact that between the scuttlebutt on a dead, long, unused, it stopped being used back in the 50 channel, there's information about the powdered blank body. They didn't know they were able to survive in the sunlight as long. Yeah, going up like that is a sign that they're getting desperate. They were probably close enough to the central nest to make this a one and done. Yeah, between what's going on over in Dalton, this is definitely the easier of the two. Fuck, we should have wiped them out when we hit the abandoned king. What have I told you about keeping the line clear? Just because no one else can easily listen doesn't mean that no one is. You know everyone's finding fun in old technology. Stay off the fucking line. Alright, boss, whatever. Fuck off.
I look at Ben when I hear the abandoned king being mentioned directly, and I rush over to whatever she's in the middle of. I ignore it, like my ADHD brain has clicked back on again. I run over to the closet that had the scanners in it. I pull out a tape deck. I hook up the audio output to go through the tape deck and just start recording that frequency. And I yank out just a stack of blank tapes and put it next to the tape deck. I'll rig this for digital later, but this is what I got right now, and I just slap a tape in and start recording.
Dan has kind of gone into a state of stillness, a little bit of shock between the constant flashbacks to her time fighting, to the notice and the idea of ashed bodies or powdering of something. It's hitting things in her head and dragging up thoughts and memories, and it's made her, like I said, she had the forceps pulling bullets from Marcus, but kind of stopped, hand in the air with the bullet still in the forceps, just like still.
Ben, I gotta ask, does what we just heard mean what I think it means? They were calling us blank bodies, which means they're not fangs. And they talked about hitting the abandoned king. I'm not crazy, right? I mean, that was Kyne admitting to hitting Juggler's place.
Kind of shaking herself out of realizing she's being spoken to. Like said Marcus. Yeah. Apparently whatever this is, these group of humans know we exist. And they know how to kill us. And that's very scary to me. They're probably in the city right now, looking for us. Or not us.
Can Mason hear this conversation, or is the shower too far away?
No, he's done showering. He's making his way back.
Yeah, it's a big empty space. There's nothing blocking sound on the ground floor.
Okay, so Mason immediately picks up because this person's been on his mind ever since he was first mentioned. Rumors of him being back in the Gary area. But he's not in his happy-go-lucky mood that he's usually in. He's also kind of down in the weather, but right now Mason's trying to fight through that because where is it? What was his name? It was the old guy.
The crazy
old guy. Crazy old guy. He liked fire. So yeah, that guy. Sullivan.
Okay, well, we're sitting on something that I don't think anybody else knows right now. We're tapped into something.
Yeah.
That's a little scary.
It's more than scary. It's... what do we do with it? Who do we give it?
We're also missing people. We don't know where the others are. I haven't heard back from Joseph or Mamela. Silk must be busy. I haven't heard back from them either. I don't know what's going on, and I don't like it.
Wasn't Dr. Joseph with Silk last time we spoke?
Yeah, but they should at least have messaged back by now. Something's going on.
Okay, I'll message Toinette then. See if she's doing okay.
The message said something about a blank body walking in daylight, too. I know we can't do that.
But Thin Bloods can.
Yes, somebody told me that was possible. So maybe they're onto the Eric's people?
God, I hope not.
It also sounded not just like that, but they said went up like something caught fire. So I'm worried that one of us might have waited too late to get inside and caught fire in front of who knows how many humans.
That's also bad.
Yeesh. Yeah, and that explosion was me. My beast got a hold of me.
Okay, so we need to make contact with Silk and them. We need to find out what happened to Cone, Silk, Tao, and Joshua Mamela. And we need to decide who we want to tell about this frequency area. Whether we want to share it generally, or keep it to one sect or another, or keep it to ourselves. Because this is
Honestly, I don't like Silk or really any of the Anox, but we probably should bring this up with everyone. This is big. These are my second Inquisition level big, possibly. So, I feel like we should put our
cards on the table.
Cards on the table.
Yeah. Cards on the table. It makes sense though, because those other vehicles that were chasing us that night that we stole that I stole the SWAT car. That one lady, she just would not let it go, and she wasn't a regular cop. There was something to that, so that makes me think that they are here in the city and they know what we are, and who knows what that means.
Well, one thing that we know it means is they consider us an easier mark than Dalton right now. They said that in the radio transmission, that they're looking at Gary as a target-rich environment right now. I mean, they talked about a nest because they're kind and they don't know any better. But them saying that we're an easier mark than Dalton doesn't make me happy, just because that means they'll refocus more bad things here.
I wonder if they found the whites.
There's what, 1 or 2 left that we missed?
We know of 2.
We know of 2. There might be more. We don't know how many there were, but we assume that there was at least 2 that got away. The one that originally Marcus ran into, and the one that we didn't take care of that night. So there were 2 that night, but who knows how many more there were in just this night.
How many have grown
now?
I mean, the only upside of the Inquisitors would be that they would hunt the whites down.
They would first start with the whites as training.
Well, whites aren't subtle, so they're...
Exactly, that's why I said they would start them as training, basically teaching people that these are vampires, and these are the low-level ones. Then they'll start soon if they think they've eradicated enough whites, then they'll start branching out to low-level anarchs and low-level, or at least what they think are low-level anarchs and low-level Camarilla. This is how that works.
Crazy thing is,
they need
Thin Bloods are
to
probably
build experience. Sorry.
The crazy thing is the Thin Bloods are probably the safest just because they're the hardest to spot. But right now we just...
Still, I'll check in with Toynet.
Okay. And I'm going to back up trying to get a hold of Silk and Cone. See if either one of them are awake and out there.
And as you all reach out to your various associates and contacts, hoping to get some confirmation of any bit of information that would be helpful to you all, at all points is blasted across the airway. There is a hunt on for anyone who knows, and then the image is being discussed. They are spelling it out in word and deed, and those of you who have several news sites, local news sites on your phone, are bombarded with images of Mamela rounding a corner. He is listed as a person of interest, and anyone who knows any information, please list off a website, phone number. And with that, we end tonight's episode. I'd like to thank you all for such a lovely session. I look forward to what will happen with the code moving forward. See you soon.
Mm-hmm.